Millennial-Mary presents Polgannon's Men of the Cloth, featuring the Reverend Pascoe and his curate, Cedric. Hello, fellow simmers. Today we're going to start on the spiritual well-being of the folks in Polgannon. This is St. Jenny's Church, where Pastor Leonard Pascoe leads, and his curate, Cedric Chesney, helps him. Shall we go into the church? Let's begin. Let me introduce you to the members of the congregation. This is the leader, Reverend Leonard Pascoe, and he is the head of the congregation. He's an older man who's been here for many, many years, but didn't marry until he was into his 50s to a vivacious young lady. Next, we move on to his curate, Cedric Chesney, and he is coming to sit next to the pastor while he does his sermon. And as you can see, he is heart-farting the pastor's young wife, Griselda. Griselda knew Cedric from her days in school, and she's the one that introduced the pastor, her husband, to him. But even though she just wants to be friends with him, he has a little bit more in mind. And we're going to get into the good and the bad of Cedric. He is a very interesting character. Let's see the people in the congregation. In the front row that we have the Nichols family. Well, actually not the Nichols family. They're brother and sister. We have Alan Trelawney, and he is an older gentleman that just lives with his dog, and he is in SCIA career. And his sister is a widow. Her name is Sonara Nichols, and she lives next door, and she has her brother over for dinner frequently. Sitting behind her is her son, Marek. He is an attorney who has never married and just is very boring, just focuses on his work. But Sonara wants him to get married and give her an heir. And next to him is Eva, and Eva is the sister of the local doctor. She is a music teacher, and she lives in the same neighborhood as these folks. And Sonara is very picky about who she wants for her son. She wants somebody that is worthy of being in the family, and she thinks Eva is just the person. I think Eva likes Marek, but Marek is kind of clueless to love. If anything, he is asexual. He just doesn't seem interested. And then in the back are two of the members of the Penhaligon family, the big family in town, and it's Caro and Carolyn. And Caro's father is the one that was murdered, and there he is with his wife, Carolyn. They kind of have an unhappy marriage and pretty unhappy life, and their son is the best friends with the pastor's son. We will be focusing on their family next time. So let's see what's going on in the church. So the pastor gives his sermon. Sonara has taken her place playing the piano while Griselda is with the congregation, but most of them are like totally not paying any attention to him, and they're talking amongst themselves. Blaise, the man that was murdered, said that Pastor Len was ineffectual at best, and this kind of shows it. As you can see, he doesn't have a large congregation, but he has all the best people in town. He would like to get all of the people in town. Cedric is holding him back a little bit because Cedric has certain ideas about who should come to church and who shouldn't. Len is much more forgiving. In fact, he's one of the few people that was somewhat on the side of Blaise, the man that was murdered. Most of the people in town hated him, but Len saw the good and bad in him as he sees in most people. He's just a good person, even though he may be ineffectual. So at the end of the service, Griselda comes up and talks to Cedric. And look, she's gossiping about her own husband. And, telling Cedric, oh, look, he can't cook. And she can see Cedric is in his full business uniform. And he's taken off his glasses to impress Griselda, but he can't see a thing without them. Now they're arguing a little bit. So it's not all light and roses, but Cedric is definitely a problem. And Len has asked Griselda to kind of talk to him a little bit, but it's really not going where it should be going, unfortunately. The service is over and everybody is leaving. It's an evening service. Well, Len's still talking, but most of them are leaving. It is time to go home now. Len is in his home office thinking about what he's going to do about Cedric. Cedric has become a bit of a problem because he's alienating certain people in the community. So he's thinking, maybe if I call Cedric and invite him over, and then maybe one of the people that he's kind of been negative about, have them over for tea and see if the two of them can get along. All right, so that's his plan, and that's what he's going to do. So there's cookies ready, there's tea. Now he's going to call Cedric and invite him over, and then call his special mystery guest and invite her over and see if they can get along. Okay, he's going to come over. All right, now we're going to go see if this will work out. He's like, what did I do? Was that the right call to make? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Let's back up a little. It all begins with Cordelia and Gwen. You see, they came to Polgannon to escape the disapproval they received from their family for being gay. But their new start was very rocky. Once they were here in Polgannon, they started to receive letters telling them to leave, telling them that their kind wasn't wanted. But the rumor is that Cedric Chesney was behind the letters, and they aim to find out if that's true. So it's been said that Cedric is a problem. These two, Cordelia and Gwen, have just invited over the pastor and his wife for some tea. Gwen is making cookies, and then she's gonna, well, she prepared the tea. Cordelia is friends with Griselda. She does not have great opinion of Len because she thinks that he's behind this thing with his curate. So she asks him about Cedric, and basically she tells him what has gone on, that they've gotten this hate mail. However, she's kind of surprised that she's having a decent conversation with him, that he's not such a horrible person, and she's like, maybe I got him figured out wrong. She's thinking maybe I should give him a chance. If he finds this hate mail so abhorrent, then maybe I need to investigate this. Maybe I wrongly judged him. What do you think, Gwen? So meanwhile, the pastor's upstairs in the baby's bedroom talking to Griselda. Did you hear what they said? No, that's not what he's saying. He's just serenading his bride because he's madly in love with her. But honestly, he's like, this thing with Cedric, this is a problem. But I think between you and I, we can come up with a solution to this. What do you think, honey? And she's like, yes, I think we can. Why don't we see if we can get these two together and see what they have in common? She's like, anything you say, darling. Cordelia just kind of heart-farted at Cedric. And they're talking about rats, which is appropriate because he's the one that sent her and Gwen a letter about how nasty they are. So this is interesting. They're at Pastor Leonard's house. Here's Pastor Len and his little son Theo having tea, and he's invited Cedric over, who is his curate, works for him, and Cordelia just stopped by because she and the pastor are friends. He admires her pottery that she does, but it's interesting that the two of them are having a little conversation, and who knows, maybe they get along. So Theo is trying to talk to Cordelia because he's a friendly little boy, but as you can see, she's kind of lukewarm to him. At first she's kind of like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. Now she's talking to him about the things he wants to talk about. Oh my god, she's still hard farting over Cedric, which is so... Here they are having cookies together. And here comes Griselda, who is late in her pregnancy. She's going to give birth tomorrow. She's much younger than her husband, and kind of was a scandal when the two of them got married. But they are probably one of the happiest couples in town. I think Len thought that having Cedric over and Cordelia and maybe having them together, they could put their differences aside. And it's really interesting that Cordelia is having that kind of reaction to Cedric because he's so violently against her, what he calls it, lifestyle, but yet she finds him attractive. He is kind of a very unattractive looking man, but somehow all the women, even the gay, well, she's bi, so, but the women in town are attracted to him. It's just like amazing how he does it. Plus, he barely has a penny to scrape by because he works for Len at the church. He is his curate, and he helps him with the duties at the church. So he gets a small salary. Alright, Griselda is ready to give birth. She's screaming and hubby's still sleeping. She doesn't even look pregnant. She's just amazing. Alright, here we go.
Stop.
Let's see. We have one plum bob. Baby plum bob. Let's see. Yeah, it's a boy. Oh, what a cutie pie. Alright, the baby boy's name is going to be Polgannon. I got this from a site that has names for whales babies, and his name is going to be Polgannon Pascoe. What a mouthful. And Griselda puts her little baby on her pile of dirty clothes, but you know, she doesn't even have a crib for him. She's gonna go feed him, I think. Yeah. And as you can see, she is not dressed in the typical pastor's wife type conservative outfit. She's one of a kind. She wears what she wants and she does what she wants, and her hubby loves her for it. Ah, Cedric. He looks so innocent in his sleep, slumbering away like a good little religious person who does what he's supposed to. And actually, for the most part, he does. For the most part, he does have a good heart. But he has a deep, dark secret. Cedric, lifetime want is to woohoo with 20 different Sims. So that leads him to do a lot of naughty things. And to cover it up, he has to be perfect. So he has a bit of a double life. There's more to it than meets the eye with Cedric. Cedric has a very expensive computer that was given to him as a gift. Cedric is a man who barely makes any money at all. He makes $264 as an employee in the church. But look, his office, he managed to furnish it with a nice fish tank, which he also got as a gift, a very expensive computer, nice furnishings, and you would never know that when you come downstairs. Like a very, very basic living room, very basic kitchen, but there's a secret, and he's about to come into a lot more money. You see, Cedric puts down anybody that's different, anybody that's gay, anybody that may be into the occult, such as Rosin the Witch, but he believes in it himself, and he has conjured up some magic of his own. So Cedric is a very, very mixed up young man. And we don't know what's going to get the better of him, his good side or his naughty side, shall we say. So he's mixed up in a lot of things. Yes, he did have a letter writing campaign. He had a lot of Sims over, and he had them write letters to the Sims that he wants to keep in line. Cedric is a very, very naughty young man. The Pascoe family is a loving family. They are all... I don't know who's falling. The Pascoe family is the same at home and in the community. Loving, caring role models for Polgannon. Cedric could be with the proper guidance. Will Len and Griselda help him, or will he end up being banished to leave Polgannon? I hope you like this story. Next time, we're going to focus on the founders of the town, the Penhaligon family. If you would subscribe, if you haven't, that would be great. And if you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's it for this time, Simmers. So, this is Millennial-Mary. Keep on simming. Bye now.